Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Rovi, M-Scribe, and I-Man. I think we should take a journey, dude.
Wow. You're going to take me down a journey, huh?
A digital matter journey.
I'm excited, dude.
All right, so let's just jump into this, dude. And we're not even going to, preface this with anything. So let's jump in.
Okay, do we have audio set up? Because that's a...
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if we do. Oh, we do. Cool.
Okay, good. Because that's a pretty important part of all this experience, this journey you call. Damn, dude. Explain what we're looking at here, dude.
Check this out. What does it look like to you?
It's actually unexplainable. I mean, it looks like the universe.
It does. It says the mempool sits at, I missed it. And there are currently 265,000 unconfirmed transactions. And what we're looking at here is the current block on Bitcoin's blockchain.
That's the last one that was minted.
Correct.
Holy shit.
And that's what it sounds like.
And then the sound is coming from, I guess, that scan, right?
Yeah, let me kind of zoom in here. It says sounds are cycled through in the order that the transactions were made. Each crystal creates sound based on value spent, outputs, and fee. And
when they say crystal, it's kind of like if you refer back to Bitmap, the squares. So they have a different visualization standard. Whoever built this, right? So
correct. Yeah, and so what's cool about this is that you can explore the Bitcoin's blockchain off of this tool that by happenstance IOHK made several years ago.
2019, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who IOHK is, I think it's like the academic side of Cardano. It's very much a hardcore computer science organization of some sort. I remember hearing a lot about that foundation.
Yeah, I remember
during Cardano's inception,
Yeah. And so they developed this this blockchain explorer specifically for Bitcoin, which is a little weird coming from a Cardano funded organization.
Would have known the blockchain sounds so terrifying.
There's actually some nice sounding ones. There's others that clash, like that one.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel this one's more angelic. I feel more at peace in this one, dude. The last one was tapping into my anxieties. I'm over here fucking I feel like my skin is crawling. Let's see what the next one's got for us.
Yeah, so ultimately this is just a depiction of what the blocks will look like if it were rendered in a way where it takes data,
right,
and puts a visual representation of that data. And so now we have basically what looks like a galaxy, if I can kind of zoom in here. What looks like a galaxy. And if you look to the right...
Oh, shit. You're in Starship mode, dude.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Star Fox. I don't know if you remember that one,
I can actually
dude.
go that way.
Hell yeah, dude. Where the frogs at, dude?
Yeah.
They're going to start shooting at you.
So theoretically, you could imagine that those being the part of the mempool.
Yeah.
And then if I turn around, you would see all the blocks.
Yeah. And as you saw in the beginning animation, this thing is very expansive. There's 800,000 of these things.
Yeah. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So let's just go to random block, and it's going to shoot you up.
Wow. I mean, it's literally it's like the rings of Saturn here, dude.
Yeah.
This is actually genuinely beautiful.
It is.
This construction here, this is great.
Yeah, and that little spot is loaded in.
Where you're going, dude. We're getting there. We're about to find our new home.
Yeah, this is
landing the fucking aircraft, I guess, or spacecraft.
Yeah, so we've landed in block 505-700. This is the past, dude. We're in the past.
We are in the past, and it sounds great. So, hold on.
1,000 Bitcoin output, 121 transactions. And then you can kind of zoom in.
So why is this important, dude? Because I guess it supports something we've been talking about a lot lately, right?
Yeah.
Something that we find super innately valuable about, I guess, what Casey Rodimer's introduced and what Vitoshi's introduced with bitmaps. It's this digital matter theory, right? The human proclivity, I guess, to like trying to identify patterns in nature. Right now, we're kind of like that's kind of like what science and physics and mathematics is.
Yeah, and we're about to talk about an article that
Yeah.
that specifically states exactly what you just said.
Pretty much, yeah. Like that is
interestingly,
it's a natural human behavior, right? We're trying to find patterns because usually that leads to something of value, right?
Yeah.
Something of finding an understanding within like our context of like our experience in this universe, right?
Yeah. So on Saturday we released a podcast where you and I were talking about digital matter theory at the very end, maybe like the last 15 minutes or so, at most, and we hypothesized, every activity that we've seen so far, as far as ordinals, bitmaps, and they themselves are a pattern, and that pattern is what we're calling digital matter theory, and it's a mechanism to which humans have been identifying patterns throughout our entire history. And so when it comes to the digital matter theory, we're finding patterns within the data of Bitcoin's blockchain.
Yeah, for now. I mean, this could probably be applied much more ubiquitously, even beyond that, like to any real bytes of information that exists, right? Just leveraging data, leveraging this new form of matter, I guess. If we're gonna enter this digital era as human beings, where we start to prioritize like the value of digital goods. I think Bitcoin is a prime example of that. Even like the metaverse, people spend millions of dollars to acquire digital land, stuff like this.
Yeah.
If we're going to enter this era and this is where we're going to do it, this is how we're going to evolve as a species, then I think the mechanism of creating this digital value should come from a much more like non-arbitrary source.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like origination wise, like not just completely fluffed out of nothingness. I mean, it still works. Like Bitcoin works.
Yeah.
Right. But in context of that, like if we could leverage data in this digital matter theory sense and create new mechanisms as far as like identifying what can be derived as far as like a new value sequence or whatever within this data, like I think that's worthy of an attempt, right? And we're starting to see that. And
all this really started with a conversation with Bank of NFTs. He, we were in the DMs just kind of talking about like these concepts of like what if you could find these patterns within the parcels and you can inscribe content from a pattern discovered within a parcel, basically a transaction within Bitcoin's blockchain.
Yeah.
And so we sort of like incubated like the idea, and like ultimately after several months of just kind of thinking about it, it's like it ultimately turned into like just it's a theory of pattern recognition and being applied to the digital space. So that's why we call it digital matter theory, because now we can conceivably come up with fungible tokens that can be represented by these patterns. And then people can inscribe these fungible tokens and do whatever it is that they want. It could be kind of like the basis of an ecosystem. Like we're like Christopher Columbus. We land to the Americas, and we scatter across the land, and then we start looking at the ground and start digging up and seeing what we find. Right?
Yeah.
It's like oil, gold, silver, iron, like all these things.
Yeah.
So we're kind of doing that with Bitmap in a sense.
Yeah, I think it has definitely been done. Bitmap is a good example of that. But yeah, that's the block level, I guess.
Yeah.
And the transactions obviously mean something. That is the data layer that is being utilized or derived to create this new system of value, which is this metaverse on Bitcoin thing, right?
Yeah,
and the architecture and layout of how that can even be constructed in the first place, right?
Yeah, and there's a little bit under about 1 billion transactions on top of Bitcoin, and so that's a little bit under 1 billion parcels.
Yeah.
And so a transaction contains a lot of information.
Yeah.
And so you could discover patterns that can be inscribed into tokens.
We've kind of like brute forced that like test.
Oh yeah, we did.
We have.
We did.
So this is one of the things that this theory sounds all nice and cool, and we have a couple of use cases of I guess people finding value in this digital data layer, and then creating these new derivative value products from it. So, but how do you actually formalize the mechanisms of discovery? I think is like how you actually turn this idea into something of substance, right? We're now like a community of essentially like blockchain explorers or like archaeologists, whatever you want to call them, hunters. You can go out and find these patterns and recognize them yourself, and then submit them through some sort of process to where now you can generate some new value out of it. I mean, the process is obviously going to be like some sort of an inscription. Right? That is the way right now, like the ordinals ecosystem is evolving. So
that's true.
It can support all of this, right?
Yeah. And so we were having a conversation. It was like, well, why does this matter? Like, why would like data based off of non-arbitrary roots, why would that matter in the first place? And I think ultimately we basically discussed how it removes like the human element of decision making. Right. And so if you were to do a token for bitmaps, I mean, you would do a token and then you would arbitrarily choose a billion supply.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, dude.
It's like, why? Why?
Because we love ones and zeros, I guess. Yeah. A billion just sounds about right.
Yeah.
But that really doesn't, there's no basis
doesn't mean
on that.
anything. Yeah.
You're right. So you eliminate that part of the arbitrary aspects that make up like some sort of token economy or just ecosystem in general, right?
It's in the same way as like we didn't invent physics, we discovered it. It was just there. Right? We didn't invent math. It's there. It's already there, right? We just discovered it.
Correct. Yeah, we built a whole physical economy, real world economy around like these natural impositions, right? We didn't set the parameters of our existence.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't consult with God to be like, hey, how much natural resources should we actually like embed here into this experience we call humanity, right? It just happened to be there. It exists because of our reality is operating under these frameworks of like physics, right?
Right.
Which is like a natural material process. These building blocks called atoms is what assembles and forms everything of substance that we human beings we get the leverage on a day-to-day basis, create industry off of and stuff like that, right? Built a whole economy in this existence layer. So in the virtual sense, we can kind of like recreate the same like mechanism.
Yeah.
But like just like the human part is just kind of like laying forth this foundational, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And then the rest of it's just autonomously like generated, right?
Yeah, it's like Batoshi didn't really invent bitmaps. It was already there. He just merely discovered the patterns to say, hey, this kind of looks like a district and parcels and so forth.
Yeah, and then he associated it to one visualization standard, which at the time was Bitfeed Live, right? It could have been this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it could have been.
All of our bitmaps could have been these, what are these, like hexagons?
Hexagons, yeah.
Yeah, we'd have hexagons instead of squares, right?
That's right.
It's probably because, he wasn't aware of this specific like visualization standard, but that's the thing. The visual aspect of the bitmaps really don't mean anything.
Correct.
The real substance behind bitmap is the data.
The data. That's right.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what we're proposing. It's like, dude, let's do more of that.
Yeah.
Right?
So funny you brought that up. I got another slide here for you. So take a look at this. And I'm going to refresh the page. That way we get the full experience here.
Yeah. Let's do like a real side by side. Ooh. Whoa. Did you see that pulse?
Yeah. It's like, hold on. Let me.
So if you guys aren't familiar with what this is another metaverse in the making.
Yeah. Check this out.
Whoa. This looks very similar.
Very similar, right?
Oh, dude, there's definitely some some finagling here or whatever you want to call it. This is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. So I don't think so you can kind of move it around a little bit, but you just click randomly and it takes you to the center.
Yeah.
And so then I can zoom in here and click on a parcel or whatever this is called, a deed.
Correct. Other side deed. So if you don't know what the other side is, this is this is Bored Apes Metaverse project that is Improbable and M Squared have been working on, and
correct.
This is a massively funded organization and project that's going to pretty much bring about, I guess, the world's biggest metaverse experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and look at how massive this is. Like, this is by itself a very massive world. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's huge. And remember, Bitmap surpassed the holders count of this. Like, I think they have like 18,000 or so. And so now Bitmap has around 22,000.
Yeah.
And so this is what arbitrary like land creation looks like.
Correct. Yeah, like I guess the other side organization, foundation, whatever, they just decided this is how many plots or deeds that we want to distribute to the community, and they did a land sale. They generated hundreds of millions of dollars selling these little circles here.
Yeah,
and these things represent, a future, virtual space essentially. Correct. And in the same sense, your bitmap district represents that as well.
That's right.
Right. But the generation of the bitmap was done through a non-arbitrary process, right? Yeah. Which is like, okay, yeah, we're associating all the blocks that are being minted as like, that is the value creation mechanism, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A non-arbitrary process. So yeah, I think we got this side by side now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is important to understand. I mean, it's hard to say like which one is going to be more valuable, right? Just because I don't know if non-arbitrary just makes it more valuable, but it does remove a vector, which is a vector
of like centralization, right?
Yeah, yeah, like just random decision making.
Right.
Now, how much value is that? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah, nonetheless, it's very interesting.
Agreed. Yeah, it's really there's no real need to kind of like harp on like whether or not this is going to generate like more like market value than the arbitrary stuff, because we know arbitrary value creation works.
Yeah, this is $1 billion ecosystem right here.
Right, Bitcoin is taking over the planet. It's fine.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's okay to create like value out of arbitrary parameters and stuff like that.
That's right.
But what happens when you don't?
Yeah.
you use this new mechanism, right? That's I think largely untested.
Yeah, it's an untapped concept.
Field. Really. Yeah, a whole other side. No pun intended.
All right. What are people saying? So we released that video. Now people are starting to talk about it. So we did a search on Twitter just to see what everyone is saying. And hold on, let me refresh this. Did you know that we're more than just a YouTube channel? We also built Mscribe, the first inscription platform built from the ground up for the metaverse on Bitcoin. Connect your Bitmap ordinals and use our tools to bring your community into the virtual realm. Support us by joining the movement at mscribe.io. Like, comment, and subscribe for the latest alpha. Back to the video. All right, so Ordinals Ninja, digital matter theory, unified metaverse positioning system may seem like foreign, but to coders, the designers, it could be important tools for further bitmap development. So Batoshi even chimed in yesterday, 21 hours ago. Hope you're ready for phase 3. It says unified metaverse positioning system, persistence, how, ordinals theory, bitmap theory, digital matter theory.
Yeah. So Batoshi clearly saw the video.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point. I think basically that's kind of what we're advocating here. Do more of what was already done to generate bitmaps in the first place, right? So if you're going to create any new phase to that ecosystem, like, always leverage the data as your source for like, any kind of a new component to it.
Yeah. And for some reason, I don't know how we discovered that link. What's it called? Symphony of Blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this tweet and you commented on it. It says Beyond Bitmap Symphony 2.0 release July 2019.
Yeah.
It says explore the Bitcoin blockchain as an immersive 3D soundscape in your browser.
Mm.
And I don't think he tagged us on this or anything, but it came into my feed. And
not surprising.
Yeah. So that's cool. Right? Twitter works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something everyone should kind of explore and understand. Like this is it's a pretty well made 3D experience. If you want to kind of get your hands on something.
Yeah.
Something immersive. It's not necessarily like a final version of what the bitmap metaverse should be. It's just kind of like a good way to explore.
Yeah.
Like what the potential of it, right?
Yeah, you can imagine kind of flying through this ecosystem as like, I want to check out this land, and you kind of click on it, and you kind of
pour it into a whole experience.
Like, it's a whole like thing. It's a whole thing.
Right.
Right. So.
Or it could be totally different than that. Even this is one of these districts or whatever. These blocks is an actual open world ecosystem. They're all like intertwined.
Yeah,
there is no like separate spaces between them. Right? It's all a conglomeration of space.
Yeah, yeah.
It depends. All depends on the architects and designers of the future.
Yeah, I mean that's what's interesting about bitmaps is open source. You can pretty much do anything. Right. Yeah. Last thing I wanted to talk about is this article. It says the physicists claim that information is a new form of matter.
Yeah.
And he says we're on track for it to outweigh everything else on Earth.
Yeah, so pretty much like put the value, I guess, like the energy intensity for like to support the creation of new data.
Yeah.
If you apply like some very well understood principles of physics and you combine them together, I guess you formulate like an outcome of like, this is a new matter. This is like the fifth form of a material presence in the universe.
Yeah.
So in light of that, it's like, I mean, if data is that significant to the point where it's going to outweigh everything in our existence, our physical existence, then I think that is something that should be tapped and leveraged for the virtual space.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as like, creating real value.
Yeah, let me read this section here. Based on current trends, there could be more bits of digital information in use on Earth than there are atoms of matter in about 350 years.
Jesus.
And a physicist says that digital information ought to be considered a new form of matter itself. So I'm going to put this link in the description. That way you guys can read. It's not very long, but but I thought it was very interesting because we organically came to this conclusion ourselves, and there's others thinking the same thing. So that tells us, like using the scientific method, that if other people are coming to the same conclusion independently, there's substance here.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought, I don't know how you found this, dude, but
it just happens. It just happens, dude.
How the hell did you find that?
I don't know. It's what did I say, dude? It's meant to be, dude. It's fine, dude. It's fine. It's all the universe, dude. It's speaking to me.
I like that, dude.
But still, man, it's like this is all nice and sounds real nice and fluffy and everything.
Yeah, but how do you
the execution of formalizing this into an actual like protocol? I think is what's really important here as far as. If anybody subscribes to this idea, is like, this is worthy of pursuit. Yeah. We should all kind of like collectively work on this. All you data engineers out there who know how to download the full Bitcoin 500 gigabytes of data and start to parse all this into like valuable bits of data or derivative value products, whatever you want to call them. We're calling them elements, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, we're a step away. I mean, Bitmap community is like one step away from actually doing this.
Yeah.
Like, let's go to the browser. You click on a random block here, and it tells you a ton of information about a block, right?
Yeah, correct.
Like it's a lot, right? You could do a lot with this information.
You can.
But this block has how many transactions? Where's it at? 3,000? 3,700?
28,
yeah, there's a lot more information within this block that can be leveraged. So we're pretty close, right? We're like half a step away from like actually being able to index all this information and being able to use it as a community. So this is a call out to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like we need your help kind of like organizing something like this. And if there's interest, and maybe there's no interest in this, maybe we're just...
Yeah, well, once we can get, I guess, achieve consensus around whatever the mechanisms are, I guess, to enable this type of like a new data exploration and value creation, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, now what do we build with that, right? And people have already picked up on it. We calling them NATs, these non-arbitrary tokens.
Right.
What kind of ecosystems can be created from that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't know. So all this is very experimental, very much like some fucking deep Web3 nerd shit.
Yeah.
But
cypherpunks.
That's right. Well, what else are we here for than just that, right? That's the whole point of this.
It's experiment. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that's it for us. If you have any questions, definitely let us know in the comment section below. We comment and to everybody. So definitely if you want us to talk about something, let us know as well. Follow us on all our Twitter channels. There's a lot of them, and I appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.